This case is part 2 of a series. If you haven't already watched the first part, I highly recommend that you do so, as this case will make much more sense. So go and watch that now. I'll be right here when you get back. 1965, 19-year-old Suellen Evans was a student at the University of North Carolina in Chapel Hill. She was studying to be a medical technologist and was described by her friends as someone who loved life and had a bright future ahead of her. On October that year, Suellen was working as a student technician in the university's medical research department, which at the time was located in the basement of the old Coker Hall. Her job was to collect blood samples from patients and then take them to the blood bank building across campus for testing. At around 4:30 p.m., Suellen left the basement of Coker Hall with a bucket full of blood samples and walked across campus to the blood bank building. The distance between the two buildings is roughly 800 meters. She was seen walking by several people, but no one paid much attention to her. It was just another Tuesday afternoon. Upon arriving at the blood bank building, Suellen stopped to speak to a friend before going inside. That friend, whose name was Kathy, would later tell the police that she and Suellen had talked about a number of things, including boys, school, and the upcoming weekend plans. Kathy said that Suellen was in good spirits, and nothing appeared to be wrong. After their conversation ended, Kathy watched as Suellen walked away and turned towards the Arboretum, which was located directly behind the blood bank building. And this is where things get weird. See, the Arboretum was a large wooded area filled with plants and flowers from all over the world. It was a popular place for students to hang out, and some even called it the Lover's Lane because of how secluded and intimate the gardens were. According to Kathy, Suellen had never gone into the Arboretum before, and Kathy couldn't think of any reason why she would be going there now. Nevertheless, she watched as Suellen disappeared into the trees. At around 5:15 p.m., the student was taking a shortcut through the Arboretum when he heard what sounded like a woman's voice calling for help. He stopped and listened, but whatever he heard, he assumed was just a bird and continued on his way. 5 minutes later, a different student was walking through the Arboretum when he saw a pair of white sneakers sticking out from under a bush. At first, he thought they were just a misplaced piece of clothing, but then he noticed what looked like a body underneath. He ran over and tried to help, but whatever he saw made him run away screaming. He didn't call the police or try to flag down any other students. For some reason, he just ran away screaming. It wasn't until almost an hour later that the police were called to the scene. When they arrived, they found the body of Suellen Evans. She had been beaten to death. The news of Suellen's murder spread quickly throughout the university and the surrounding community. People were stunned and scared who could have done such a thing. The police interviewed everyone who had seen Suellen that day, but no one had seen anything suspicious. Even the two students who had heard and seen something in the Arboretum refused to come forward with any details. As far as we know, Suellen's killer has never been identified. Now, while researching this case, I came across a number of articles that claimed the killer was definitely a UNC student. However, I can't find anything to verify this claim. In fact, all of the news stories that I did find seem to indicate that the killer may have been a stranger. There are a few possibilities here. Either the killer really was a UNC student, but the media just got it wrong, or the media got it right, and the police are just keeping it under wraps to protect the university's reputation. Or the police believe the killer was a stranger, but the media got it wrong again. Or the killer was a stranger, but the police believe it was a UNC student. I honestly don't know what to believe. What I do know is that the police had several persons of interest in this case, but for some reason they never progressed to suspects. This includes a man named Henry Dean Willard. Henry was convicted in 1974, the murder of a young girl in Virginia. Investigators linked him to several other murders in North Carolina, Virginia, and Maryland, but they were never able to charge him due to a lack of evidence. In 1972, Henry was arrested for breaking into a home in Maryland and was sent to prison. While in jail, he told another inmate that he knew who killed Suellen Evans and offered to tell him for $2,500. He also gave the inmate a note saying, "Don't trust anyone. I only have a short time to live." The inmate took this to mean that Henry was planning on escaping prison and wanted to get the confession before the police figured out who the killer was. When Henry was released from prison in 1992, he went straight to Florida and changed his name. The FBI kept tabs on him for years, but eventually lost track of him. His current whereabouts are unknown. So who killed Suellen Evans? Was it a stranger or someone from the university? I don't know. What do you think happened? Let me know in the comments.